Hello, Assalamualaikum and welcome back to Intelli-Machines. In the last video, we have seen how to install Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook on your machines. Now in this video, we will see a detailed walkthrough of Jupyter Notebook. But before starting this video, let me share a brief and quick introduction of Intelli-Machines with you. You might be new to this channel, so let me share a quick introduction. In Intelli-Machines, we are currently covering Python course from scratch to advanced level. Similarly, we are going to cover deep learning, machine learning and artificial intelligence from scratch to advanced level in our next videos. So if you are interested in any of them, then please make sure to subscribe Intelli-Machines right now so that you can get updates of our next videos. And don't forget to share this channel with your friends. Let's start it. Now here are two ways to open and save your Jupyter Notebook files. We will discuss them one by one. Using the first method, we will see how can we do it is using Jupyter application, and using second method we will see how can we do it using any specific folder. Okay, so these are the two ways. You can either open and save your Jupyter Notebook file via Jupyter application, okay, or either you can do it any specific folder. So let's see how can we open and save Jupyter Notebook file using Jupyter application, and then secondly we will do it from this method. Okay, let's start. First of all, click here on the search bar and type Jupyter Notebook. Here you can see this application, just simply click on it. This black window is the kernel of Jupyter Notebook. Here you can see it has opened Jupyter Notebook in a new tab of my browser. It is the homepage of Jupyter Notebook. There are few folders you can see. You can use any of them to save your file, to create a new file, or you can have a new folder by clicking on this new button and here click on the folder. You can see it has created a new folder for me, and I can rename this folder by simply clicking on this button, and then I can rename it by clicking here Jupyter folder. Okay, so currently I want to use this folder to start my work. Here you can see there are multiple folders, but it has not mentioned the specific path of these folders, so it can be confusing to figure out that where your folder is actually saving. We will see it later in the video that how can we figure it out. Okay, I am going to the Jupyter folder. Here I will click on the new button again and I will click on Python 3 file. So this tab is the home tab of Jupyter Notebook, and this tab is the notebook itself. Okay, so here you can see the interface of Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so this one is the cell of Jupyter Notebook. We will use these cells to write and execute our course, and here above is the menu bar, and right below the menu bar here it is a toolbar, right? So it is the first method by using which you can open your Jupyter Notebook, and after discussing the second method we will have a detailed walkthrough of Jupyter Notebook, right? But here is one important thing that I want to share with you. Like I said earlier, that here you can see it has created a Jupyter folder for me, but I don't know where it is exactly saving this file. It is just mentioning link to the root folder, but I don't know where is the root folder actually situated, right? So to figure it out, I just have to go here in my Jupyter Notebook, and here I will type pwd, and I will click on this run button. In the output section you can see it has showed me the full path where my folder is saved. I can cross check it by selecting this path and I will copy it. So I have copied the full path. Now I will go to this PC, and here in this bar I will paste the whole path as it is. So in this PC I will click here in this bar and I will paste that full path as it is. Now here is one thing that you need to change. Please let me zoom in for you. Okay, so you can see there are double slashes. You have to remove one slash from the whole path to make it work. Now I have converted all these double slashes to a single slash. Now I will enter to go into that folder. Here you can see, let me zoom out. Here you can see the folder where we are actually doing our working and where these files are saved. Right. So that was the method 1, by using which we can create and save Jupyter Notebook files, and I have also told you the code by using which you can see the actual full path of your folder and files. Right. So that was the method 1. Now let's go and discuss about the second method. Now here we have second method. You can call it specific folder method. By using this method you can choose a customized place where you want to save your working instead of saving your work in the root folder. Let's see how. If I want to start my working in C directory, I will go into the C directory, and let's say I want to create a new folder here where I want to save my working, and I will name it Jupyter folder. Fine. Now this is the path where I want to start my Jupyter Notebook working. Right. So now in this folder I will press shift button and I will right click, and an option of open PowerShell window here will appear. I will click on this option and you can see it has opened up Windows PowerShell for me. There is nothing technical, I just have to write Jupyter Notebook here and press enter. Okay, as soon as I will press enter, it will open Jupyter Notebook for me. But I am using Windows 10. If you are on any other window, then you might not find Windows PowerShell. So there is another method. You can click here on this address bar and type cmd. It will open command prompt for you in this directory. You can see it has opened the command prompt in the directory of Jupyter folder where I want to save my Jupyter working files. So I will type here Jupyter Notebook and I will press enter. Now it is loading. You can see it is loading. You can see it has opened again a home page tab for me in this browser. Right, and if I click on new and Python 3 file, then it will create a file for me in the same folder. You can see that file here in the same folder where I want to save my working. But we can rename it. Currently the file name is untitled, but we can rename it by clicking here on this button untitled, and we can rename it to my first file. Rename. Okay, now you can see our file name has also been changed in that folder. Right. Okay. And one more thing, this black window is known as the kernel of Jupyter Notebook. Please don't close it while you are working on Jupyter Notebook. If you close this kernel by mistake or deliberately, then your commands on Jupyter Notebook will not work. So please don't close this kernel while you are working on Jupyter Notebook file. Okay, now it is the time to have a detailed introduction of Jupyter Notebook. For now we have seen two different ways of opening Jupyter Notebook. Using first method, we have seen that we can only save our file and folder within the root directory, while using other method, we can also choose a customized place where we can save our file. We have also seen a code by using which we have also learned that how can we see the full path of our current directory using a code. Now it's time to discuss the interface of Jupyter Notebook. Now here on your screen you can see that this one is known as menu bar, right, and this one here is known as toolbar. These are the cells where we write and execute our code. These can be multiple cells, we will discuss it later. A Jupyter Notebook has two modes. You can watch here, there is nothing right now, so we are currently in command mode, but if there is a pencil sign right here, then that mode will be a edit mode. To go to edit mode, you just have to click here in the cell, and you can see right now we are in edit mode. Now here is the file section where I have multiple options. If I click new notebook Python 3, then it will open a new file in new tab, but I don't need it right now. And using this option I can open any existing file. I can also make a copy of my current working file. I can also save the current file with any other name by clicking this option. I can also rename the current file by clicking this rename button, same like as I clicked here. And here is another option, save and checkpoint. If you are working professionally, then I will suggest you to choose this option to save your file. Now basically this option add a checkpoint to your current file. Let's see how. If I click this option, you can see a checkpoint date and time here. If I go back here, revert to checkpoint, then you can see it saved the file by date and time. So you can see here it saved my file using current date and time. So I can revert back using current date and time if I need. Similarly, here is a print preview. We can download it as HTML, PDF, etc. Right, and using this option we can close Jupyter Notebook. In the edit menu, you can see there are also multiple options. We can cut the current cell, we can copy it, paste it, delete it using these options. Right, there is some other options too. Let's see what are these options. But before looking at these options, I have to write 2 or 3 cells so that I can explain you what are these options for. Right, okay. Let's say I have write in first cell A is equal to welcome, and in second cell to Intelli-Machines, right, and in third cell I write print A plus B. Okay, so here is the output of all of these cells. Now if I want to merge them, then I have to click this cell. You can see the green line here, that means my cell is selected, and I will go here, edit, merge cell above. I can merge the cell, I can merge it with the cell above, or I can merge it with the cell below. So right now I want to merge it with the cell above it, so I will click it. You can see it has merged both of these cells, right. I can also merge it again with the above cell, right. So you can see it has merged all these cells in a single cell. Similarly, we can also split these cells into 3 different cells. Like if I click here just above the print and I click on edit and split cell, then you can see it has split the cell. So here are some other options too, like I can use find and replace, and if I attach anything then I can cut and copy or paste that attachment, right? And if I go to view section, now if I click on this toggle header, then this above header here will disappear like this, okay? And if I click on this toggle toolbar, then this below toolbar will disappear like this, right? Okay, and here we have another option, toggle line numbers. It is an interesting thing, especially if we have a merged cell. And if I click this option, then you can see it is showing me the numbering of each line, right? And here we have some other options too in this cell menu, like we can run all cells. Currently we have only one executable cell, but if we have multiple cells, we can use this option, run all cells, to run all the cells at same time. Like if I click it, because I have only one executable cell right now, so it has executed this cell, right? Now here we have another option of kernel. So from this menu you can restart, shut down, reconnect kernel by using any of these options. Now to elaborate one other important function of kernel, I have to insert an other cell, insert cell above, and I will write print hello, and now I will execute it, right? If you look here, then you can see every cell has its own number, like 7, 4, 6 and so on. Now here is one thing that you need to recall from our previous lectures, that Python is an interpreter language. If you have any confusion, then please rewatch my previous video. Instead, I have created one full length video in which I have discussed that what is an interpreter language and what is the difference between interpreter and compiled language. So if you have not watched that video yet, then I will recommend you to watch that video too. Anyhow, let's continue. Because Python is an interpreter language, so it will execute code line by line, right? But here is very important thing that you need to remember while you are working on Jupyter Notebook, that it will not execute code from top to end. Again, it will not execute code from top to end. Instead, it will execute code according to the sequence of the cells. Like in this case, the first cell that will run will be 4, second cell that will run here will 6, and the third cell that will run here, in this case, that will be 7. Okay, so these cells will run in a sequence, and there is nothing like that a top cell will run first. Cells will always run in a sequence which are visible here. Okay, and if I want to reset all these sequence, then all I have to do is click on restart and run all. Restart and run all. Now you can see it has changed the numbering of these cells, right? So that was an important thing to remember while you are coding. Now here in menu bar we have another option of widgets. And what is basically widgets in Jupyter Notebook? A widget is used to create an interactive graphical user interface for your user. Again, I am repeating, a widget is used to create an interactive graphical user interface for your user. So right now it is out of the scope of this video, but we may have a quick overview of widgets. Like we can save the widget state of our notebook, we can clear the widget state of our notebook, and we can also download the widget state of our notebook. At the end we have an option of embed widgets. Here if I click on it, then you can see a code. I can copy this code by click on copy to clipboard, and I will paste it where I want to embed this code. Okay, so right now that's all for widgets, but I may create a new video on it separately. Okay, and at the end of this menu bar we have an option of help. You can check the current version of your Jupyter Notebook by clicking here on help and go to the about section. Here you will find the current version of your Jupyter Notebook. You can also find some other useful references that may help you to understand Python and other related stuff. So if you want, then you may visit any of them. Okay, so for now we have discussed every detail of this menu bar. Now it's time to discuss each of these toolbars that is given just below the menu bar. Okay, so what is this first icon in Jupyter Notebook? It is the same as here we see an option of save and checkpoint. We can also click on this button to save and create a checkpoint, right? And you can use this plus sign to create a new cell. Like here, if I want to create a new cell, then I will click here on this plus button. I can also move this cell up and down by using these buttons like this. Okay, and if I want to cut the cell, then I will use this button and I will click on the cell where I want to paste it, and I will click on it. So this button will help me to paste the cell that I cut like this. Okay, and similarly you can also copy and paste a cell using this button instead of cutting a cell. Fine. We have already seen the function of run button. We use this function to execute commands, and here in the last we have 3 other options. These options are relevant to the kernel. Okay, so here using this icon we can interrupt the kernel, and using this icon we can restart the kernel, and using this icon we can restart the kernel, plus we can restart whole Jupyter Notebook. And if you click here on this button, then you can find 4 different options. Right now by default we are in code state where we can write and execute our code, and if I click here, then you can see an option of markdown, raw, NB convert and heading. Let's say if I want to convert this text to a heading, then I will simply click here and I will click on heading. Okay, and you can see it has converted my text into a heading, right? And if I and here is another option, raw NB convert. We can use NB convert to convert our current Jupyter Notebook file into HTML, into PDF or into any other format, same like as we can do in file section. Here you can see we can convert our current Jupyter Notebook into different formats, right? And here is the option of markdown. Both the heading and markdown almost are same, but there is some difference between both of them. I will create a separate video on markdown in which I will discuss it in further detail. And at the last, here we have a keyboard button. If I click on it, then you can see here are different commands that you can use in your Jupyter Notebook. So that's all for today. I hope you like this video. If you find this video useful, then please share it with your friends to encourage us. I will see you in next video.